Good morning, Valley Lodge. It is day 11 of Hurricane Harvey. The floodwaters have all receded. We've got a mess behind us to clean up. We've got a lot of stuff off the ground, but as you can see, it is a holy terror mess here and throughout the neighborhood. Neighbors everywhere are dealing with stench, mud, furniture floating. We've got drywall that we have to replace. Mold coming in. It's pretty bad. But the very first thing that we need to do is take care of the water. It's very tough to get a lot of this stuff cleaned and worked on if we don't have water. And even replacing drywall, we want to wash ourselves and everything like that. So to me, that's the very first thing I got to do. So I'm going to come out here to the water well, and let me flip this around, and I'll show you if I remember how to flip it around. I don't know how to flip it around. Alright, well anyway, this is the hose bib. This was what I had to wait until it was out of the water. But the very first thing I did was I reached back here to this valve to make sure that it's nice and tight off. I don't want any water going to the house yet. And then I came out here with bleach and a scrub brush and I cleaned this valve really well, just because I don't want to introduce any new contaminants into the well if I don't have to. The next thing I did was I went out to the breaker box and I went ahead and turned on the well just to make sure that the electronics were working and the well was pumping, because if I start the shock process, the bleach or the shock into that well and the well's not pumping, the bleach will eat up the propellers in the well and then you're going to do a big damage. So you want to make sure that your well is operating before you start this mess. So anyway, this was the easy part. None of it's really that complicated. And I'm not a professional, by the way. I mentioned this yesterday in the video, but these are what I've done a few times that well people showed me, so I just follow their instructions and I do it back the way, and it seems to work fine. So, and your well may be different, your setup. So this is my pressure tank here, and I'm going to now hook up a water hose to this, and then I'm going to take it out to the well head, and I'll meet you out there because that's where we pour the bleach and the shock. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we moved over to the well head. I wouldn't put an old shirt on that's already got bleach stains all over it, because I'm going to get more bleach on me probably. As you can see here, I've got a little wheelbarrow. Then this wheelbarrow got flooded, so it's filthy, so I put something clean up here so I can have a bit of a work area. I want to show you a couple of the things on my setup here, so you'll understand what I'm doing. This is the wellhead, and what the problem is, the water comes up here and it goes in these cracks down here and any crevices, and it pours down into your well. So this is about a 4-inch casing that goes way on down, and then we have a pipe here that goes 300 foot down, and there's a pump attached to the end of it. What the object is to get as much bleach not inside the pipe at first. So all these valves, they don't mean anything to you for this process. All these valves, all they are and that's all air control and stuff like that for working your pump. What you're trying to do is actually put bleach or some sort of a cleaner, pool shock cleaner, vinegar sometimes out here, inside of this casing to get it down into where your well water is, and then it circulates back up through the pipe and into your pressure tank, cleaning it. Now, I hooked this thing up, I don't know if you can see it, last year. What you have on top of this metal plate here, that goes around here and it bolts down. You don't try to take this off at all. But there should be a little plug up here that you can unbolt, take off, and it's a little 1/4-inch plug. And that's where if you can put a small funnel or something like that, you can put your bleach into it. I fought with it so much last year that I ended up drilling it out and putting on a barbed thread, putting this pipe on it, and this valve that hooks straight to my hose. And it makes the job so much easier. I don't know if you may not have that set up, but that's what I've done. I also built this thing last year, which is a funnel and a valve that'll go straight to it, so I can pour my bleach down in there a lot easier. And then I'll take this back off, and I'm going to hook that water hose to it that comes from my pressure tank from that valve at the bottom of my pressure tank. So what the object here is, I'm going to put bleach in here. It's going to drop down 300 foot down to the bottom where the water is setting with the pump in it. And then it is going to, I'm going to pour the bleach in here, then I'm going to hook that hose up into it, turn on the pressure, and it's going to circulate all through here. And it's going to get down in there, it's going to go back up into my pressure tank, and I'm going to run that for a few hours. And after that, we'll turn it into the house and let it run, and we'll run the bleach out. And hopefully it'll be done. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Pretty simple, really. I think I'll go ahead and open all these up so that I don't have to want anything to get dirty either. So I've got this sort of set up. I'm using 5 gallons. I think I mentioned this a minute ago. Maybe I didn't. Normally you only need about 3 gallons, they say. That's what my well guy told me. But also, if you smell bleach, it should be good and strong. This bleach is weakened a little bit. It's got a limited shelf life, so if it's not so strong, put more in there or get fresh bleach. I don't have time to go out and find fresh bleach right now, so I'm hooking this up like this. Oop, wrong one. We got to do this first. I put this valve on it like this, so bad water couldn't get in. You know, also, don't forget I came out here first thing and with bleach and a scrub brush, and I cleaned all this, so I wasn't just putting bleach back down or bad stuff back down into there. Also wanted to let you know, I always, after a flood like this, I check my pump before I start this. You want to make sure your pump is working, so I turned on the power to the pump and put a little bit of water in the pressure tank just to make sure the pump was working, because you don't want to do this if your pump's not working, because this is very corrosive and it'll get down there and it'll ruin the props on your pump. And yes, this makes it so much easier to do than the other way, which is pouring it in that little bitty 1/4 inch hole. And one of the reasons we're going to hook the hose up to it is not just to circulate it, but we're going to wash this bleach off the top of the pipes up here that way by circulating it. So it's going to all wash down in there. It'll dilute the bleach that way, but it'll kill the bacteria. I will probably cut out most of this boring part here in just a second, and we'll skip ahead. You don't want to sit there and watch me pour all this down there, I'm sure. Now you can use pool shock too. Use some good strong pool shock. 70% plus is what my well guy told me. 70% or better active ingredients. But make sure, very important, make sure you dissolve it well in water before you try this. And it probably works better than bleach, maybe straight bleach. It's stronger, but it's so much more trouble to dissolve it. It's hard to dissolve, but I do have it. I got 4 or 5 bags up in there, and I will probably end up using that, because what we'll do is we'll do this first, and then I'll let this circulate for a while, 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll get it into the house. But here in a couple of days, we'll have the water tested, and if it's still bad, we'll do this whole mess again. Except then it's more trouble, because I have to clean out, I have to circulate it through the pipes in the house too. Let it sit there for a few hours. This way, since I turned the water off to the house, it will hopefully not have that issue. Alright, that's all 5 gallons, so now we're going to turn my little valve off here. Unplug this. Now we're going to get the pipe on, the water hose. And I'm going to turn this off first because I don't want so much water coming out and blow it out. But now at the time we're going to go in there, we're going to turn the valve on, we're going to go turn the water well on and start getting it going. Be right back. Alright, it's working good. The valve is open. I've got water coming straight through. It's circulating right through. I had a little bit of a scare in there. I went in there and I threw the breaker and the well didn't seem to be working anymore. And I was throwing the wrong breaker. Thought I'd messed up. As I checked it earlier, I knew it was working. And I said, what the heck happened? That I was throwing the wrong breaker. Hey, Slednesia, you know. Anyway, we're going to let this run for about 3 or 4 hours. It's 10 o'clock right now. It's pretty simple from here on out. All I do is let this run and circulate for half the day at least, and then I'm going to turn it back off here, unplug this, turn the water back onto the house, run the bleach through those lines a little bit, and then run the bleach out, and then take a long needed shower, and maybe even get ready to go get a haircut because I've needed one for days and days and days. And then I got to start working on this house and help some neighbors out. So I don't know if that helped you or not. If you have any questions about this, post them on the timeline down here on YouTube, wherever I post this video, and I'll try to answer them the best I can as I get back to the computer. Thanks, y'all. Good luck. I know it's rough out there, but we'll get through this.